Hello. In this demonstration video, we will be looking at one of the many features of the Fujitsu ETERNUS DX storage arrays that provide added benefits in a VMware virtualized environment. In particular, we will be looking at the extreme cache pool feature of the Fujitsu ETERNUS storage arrays. The extreme cache pool feature allows you to expand the cache of the storage array by using SSD drives in the storage array. This allows you to improve the performance of your operations by extending the cache memory in the array. In this demonstration, we will be using 20 virtual machines that are linked to a base image, and we will be looking at a common phenomenon known as a boot storm. During a boot storm, multiple VMs start at the same time, and the VMs will have a sluggishness to them as they boot. During this demonstration, we will have background activity running on the storage array so that we will keep the standard cache full, and we'll be able to see the difference by using the extended cache. As you can see with the performance listing here, I have a volume running in the background that's running about 700 read IOPS and about 300 write IOPS during this demonstration. I will use a background script to go ahead and start up the 20 virtual machines, and we will be able to monitor the response time and the IOPS during this operation. We'll see the read latency and the read requests going through during the boot storm. This boot storm will take a while. We can see the virtual machines starting up, and this will take a while to boot the entire 20 virtual machines. So we will go ahead and pause this video and come back once all the virtual machines have started up. Okay, we're back. We've jumped ahead for about 10 minutes, and we can see the boot storm is completed. We can see that we had a high IOPS at the very beginning, but we can see that the latency slowly increased as multiple VMs started up and started colliding with each other, which results in a lower IOPS throughout the rest of the boot storm processing. So as we can see, this is a normal occurrence where multiple virtual machines are trying to boot at all the same time. We can see that the read latency went up, and we get a pretty high read latency throughout the boot storm. So now I will stop the virtual machines in the background and pause the video while the virtual machines stop. We can see that the virtual machines have all stopped. We've got all 20 virtual machines stopped, and we can see a read latency even during the shutdown process for the virtual machines. Now we will go ahead and enable the extreme cache feature. We use the ETERNUS SF software for enabling the extreme cache. This gives you the ability to enable the extreme cache on an individual volume basis, so we can decide which volume has the extreme cache enabled. we'll go ahead and select our volume that hosts the VM and the base image and enable the extreme cache for that volume. Now that we have the extreme cache enabled, we'll be able to see the improved performance once we start the virtual machines again. The first time we'll see a little bit of performance improvement as we load into the cache, but once we've loaded all the data into the cache, the second time we see a boot storm, we will see the real benefits of the extreme cache. So as you see here, we're starting the virtual machines again, and we can see they're still taking a little bit of time to start up. So I will go ahead and pause the video one more time, and we'll come back and see how the bootstorm performs with the extreme cache enabled. And we're back. We can see that the bootstorm has completed. If we look at the response, we'll see that we still had latency during the operation, but it wasn't quite as high as the case without the extreme cache. If we look at the read latency, we can see that overall we had a benefit from the extreme cache. But again, we still have some read latency during the second bootstorm, and that's due to the fact that we're reading the data as we're loading that data into the extreme cache. So again, the overall impression was a shorter period of time and less sluggishness to the operating systems, but still not as good as we'd like to see with our extreme cache. So now I will go ahead and stop the virtual machines in the background, and I will pause the video until this is completed. Okay, we can see the virtual machines are stopped, and as we can see, we still had some latency during the boot shutdown process, but it was lower than without the extreme cache feature. So now we'll go ahead and start the virtual machines one more time, and this time we'll see the complete benefits of the extreme cache pool. We can see that the virtual machines are starting very quickly this time. This is due to the fact that we're reading entirely out of the extreme cache now. And as we can see, the virtual machines are starting up very quickly this time. That's because we're reading entirely out of the extreme cache pool, and we're seeing very low latency in the sub-millisecond range for the read operations during this boot storm. So again, this will take a few minutes to complete the entire boot storm, so I'll go ahead and pause this video. Okay, as we can see, it took very little time for the entire boot process to complete this time. We can see that we got very high IOPS throughout the entire process. And if we look at the latency, we can see that there is very little read latency down into sub-millisecond range throughout the entire boot process. So as you can see, the extreme cache feature provides added benefits in a VMware virtualized environment. So thank you for watching this video.